All right, let's get into the big news here, guys, because this is the one everybody can't stop talking about. So John Mara says that patience is needed. Now, it's patience on his part, guys, not on our part. I should clarify that because you see that you're like, oh, whoa, what do you mean we got to be patient? We've been patient, buddy. Like that's not what they're saying. So he spoke during the screening of the NFL films The Duke, which is a film about his father, Wellington Mara, who, those who may not be aware, was literally called The Duke, not to be confused with John Wayne. But he was he's a very, very influential figure in the NFL for many, many years. And that's why literally it says The Duke on the football is because of that man. That's how influential he was, that every single game day football has his nickname right on it. So that'll be coming out soon publicly at that point. So, obviously, I'm going to encourage anybody who gets the chance to watch it by all means. It's Giants history they're going to be talking about. I'm always a big believer that if you're a true fan of a team, you should be learning its history as best you can. There's a lot of things that Rob and I were not alive for, or sometimes even way too young to remember. Like, let's talk about the Rose Bowl Super Bowl, for example. But we take the time to learn it. Even though I was 4 years old and Rob was in diapers. We still take the time to learn it.
It's barely at the womb.
Yeah, basically, So, anyway, here's the comments he said. John Mara said, obviously, we're all very disappointed with where we are right now, but I'm going to say one thing. We're not making any changes this season, and I do not anticipate making any changes in the offseason either. Let me just throw this right at you guys. Who remembers the very first press conference when the season was over?
Excuse me, sorry.
No. I'm saying this. When the very first press conference, when the season was over, we anticipate having Wink Martindale back with us next year. Did the Giants actually anticipate that? No. What happened is kind of what they hoped would happen. So I'm going to take that with a grain of salt because it's week 8 we're going into right now. So they played 7 games, not even a half of the season. Of course, you shouldn't be anticipating make those kind of large changes. That doesn't mean you go on a 5-game losing streak. All of a sudden, you don't make that kind of change. It's all going to depend on how much Dable loses the room and how much confidence he has in Joe Shane going forward as well. So,
exactly. And also, once again, like what I was kind of alluded to before with my allergies is they said the same thing about Joe Judge and Big McAdoo, and within similar time frames, Joe Judge way less. They moved on.
Now, Joe Judge did it to himself, though. Let's be honest. He had a meltdown, basically, publicly. That was not a very good look as a good coach. Talking about Shane Dable, though, he said the process that they have, being in meetings with him, talking about where they see us going forward, talking about their evaluation of our personnel, I still have confidence in both of them. I think to try to be more patient than maybe I've been in recent years. He said he, meaning his father, Wellington Mara, preached that all the time. I've probably been guilty of not being patient enough in recent years. That's one of the reasons I'm committed to Joe and Brian Dable and giving them a chance to turn this thing around. I will say this. I do like the fact that at least he's saying that this thing needs to be turned around. I mean, that's at least that's the first step is admitting you have a problem.
We're on the wrong track.
It's like alcoholism. I'm just not sure the second step. I have a problem, but it's not really a problem. I kind of enjoy it.
There's an empty one.
I can quit anytime I want.
Yeah. Like when I go to sleep or pass out.
They're talking more about patience. He said it's very difficult because the last 10 or 12 years have not been very good for our fans. It makes it particularly difficult, but you've got to do the right thing. And we are committed to doing that, committed to seeing this process through. So I kind of like that part of it. It's kind of like, listen, I understand it sucks for you guys the last decade, but we have to not make snap decisions and make smart decisions. That's basically what he's saying there.
Pretty much.
Like, I'm recognizing your pain, but I'm telling you this is why we're doing it this way. Like, I can get behind that. I really can. And if you guys watch, again, Hard Knocks, I still wonder how much of it is not scripted and how much is scripted. But he didn't want to lose Saquon, guys. And he let Joe Shane do what Joe Shane did. And I don't mean that negatively. Like I know people like a lot of people don't like Mara. Let's be honest, he's the owner, so he gets a lot of slack when his long-term losing. That's just life in that position. You know, he can cry into his $100 bills. They stacked everywhere as he dives into his Scrooge money bank. I mean, like,
spit out his gold coins.
But at least he's saying, hey, listen, I know this sucks for you. I feel the pain that you guys have, but we're doing this, and this is why. I'm okay with that. You've communicated it. You've told me you understand it. You haven't mentioned any medium cokes, which is just would piss the fan base off that much more. You know, I'm cool with it. He was also asked about Daniel Jones. He said, I'm not going to dissect individual players' performances or the offense versus the defense or anything like that, which is perfectly fine the way he said that. Get nipped into the bud right off the bat. Like, I'm not going to do that. Don't ask about anybody else. That's what he should do. It's not his job to do that. It's his job to sign checks and be behind closed doors in meetings. That's his job. You want somebody to be the face of the franchise, that's what you had a GM and a head coach for. That's not yours.
Yep.
That's not what you're supposed to do. So,
if you like that clip, then you will love the full episodes too. Find us on your favorite podcast app and look for us on all your favorite social media platforms.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please subscribe.